Welcome to the Dana Grant Show, where heart-centered stories, authentic connections, real talk, and real action come together. I'm your host, Dana Grant. I'm a life coach, speaker, and believer in the boundless power within every one of us. Each week, we're diving into raw, transformative conversations that not only spark healing, but growth and unshakable clarity. Because you know what? Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be heard, and your purpose is waiting to be fully lived. You're in the right place. Let's begin. Welcome back to the Dana Grant Show, where I have Lyndsay Dowd in the house. And you're going to want to listen to this episode today. You're going to want to download it because she is a leadership, and I'm going to call her an expert, a genius. We've had a little brief conversation before we hopped on, and I can't wait to share her thoughts, her ideas. I'm already lit up. Welcome, Lyndsay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, my friend. Birds of a feather.
Birds of a feather. Exactly. I love your thought process. You know, you were with IBM and you exited at 50. What was that, 23 years?
I was there for 23 years. Yeah. And my family put in 105. So
Wow.
quite a legacy to leave. And
With IBM, yeah.
yeah, when I left, I mean, let's just back up for a second. There was 23 years. When people hear 23 years, it wasn't one job. It was like every 2.5 to 3 years, I changed jobs and I did all these first of a kind businesses. It was beautiful, decorated career, traveled the world, did amazing things. And at the end of 23 years, I was ready for a change. And another company sought me out and said, "Hey, would you come lead a sales team for us?" And I said, "Okay." And so I packed up my big blue legacy and off I went. And in 6 short months, they fired me. And I was gutted. I was devastated. I'm not the girl who gets fired. I'm the girl you call in when things are broken or you need to build something, and I'm the one who rallies the team and gets people fired up and builds the beautiful culture. So this really caught me by surprise. And I thought I was the only executive to ever be fired. I thought no one would ever want to work with me again. I thought I had a scarlet letter. And after a month of licking my wounds, I asked myself 3 questions. What am I really good at? What do I love to do? And how can I help people the most? And I knew how to build modern leaders, and I knew how to create irresistible culture that drives results. And so I started my company, Heartbeat for Hire, and I bet on myself. And there are no entrepreneurs in my family. So I mean, my husband was an entrepreneur. We met at IBM. He went out on his own, and then I followed suit. So we didn't plan on being 2 entrepreneurs, but here we are.
But here we are. What was your biggest challenge in switching from being an employee, really, status, to an entrepreneur?
There's quite a few. And I thought, given my experience and the volumes of business I had and the giant quotas and all of these things, I thought I was going to be great. But there was so much I didn't know. And there were so many processes that I didn't consider. Like, oh, Lyndsay, you have to take care of your taxes and you have to, book your own travel. And like, that's minor, a big deal. But you have to really plan your business. You have to build your pipeline. You have to, do outreach. There isn't someone doing it for you. And I think there was this assumption that I came from this big, literally big blue network, that I would be just rife with clients. And that wasn't really the way it worked. And it's been a very squiggly line. I wrote a couple books. I started a podcast and I have a live show now, and I coach and I keynote. So I do a lot of different things, but they're all things that I've loved. And I think the one thing that I'll just say for entrepreneurs, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make investments that aren't great. You're gonna spend money on things that you're like, got nothing.
We just
out of
talked
that.
about that. It's like, invested big in that, no doubt, and we just move on.
And those moments hurt because you really you're financially, you're not in a state of abundance when you are first building your business. There, you're full of self-doubt. You're full of, am I doing this right? And one thing I learned is just to surround myself with people who make me better, surround myself with people who believe in me. And, whenever I'm really doubting myself, I don't know if we can swear here, but
we're going deep, we're going wide.
One of my buddies, whenever I'm doubting myself, if I call him, he'll be like, "You're Lyndsay fucking Dowd. You belong in any room." And I'm like, "Whoo, okay." And that kind of wind in your sails kind of, pushes you forward and gives you that belief. And there's a saying, a girlfriend of mine, she wrote a song, it's borrow the belief in you. When you don't have it in yourself, you borrow it from someone else.
Yeah.
And so I do that a lot because there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of stuff that you're
Yeah.
not going to be great at, and you have to be okay with that.
You know, Brené Brown just said something that might align with people, and I just read it and it really hit my heart. It was, and she's resurfacing on podcasts right now. So it was
Yeah,
like, and I really love it because she's just so full of wisdom.
so great.
But it was really about, the fear of the unknown. It's not the fear that stops us as entrepreneurs or in
Yeah,
life. It's the armor we keep picking back up and we keep trying
that's
to
right.
change the story. She just said it in such an eloquent way. I always say it's the ego self coming in and trying to redo the
Yeah,
same problem over and over again. What do you think you can tell people out there that are listening right now that are struggling with this process? They're
yeah.
struggling, with abundance or where they are. And I see
I
it
think
every day. I know you see it every day.
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to plan for, and we're in the mass moment of layoffs and uncertainty, so people are pivoting faster than they had planned. But if you have designs on going down that road, set
Sure.
yourself up for success. Like sock
Mhm.
away some money, keep a little reserve. If you can start a side hustle, start the side hustle. And that could
Mhm.
be baking cookies and having like beautiful
Yeah.
decorated cookies that you sell. It could be doing video work. It could be content creation, ghostwriting. It could be styling people. It could be interior design.
Mm.
Like there's a million things
Yeah.
that people will pay for that
Right.
you can make money on. So have that always so you have
Mm.
something coming in.
Yeah.
And that keeps you in a state of it's not quite abundance, but there's
Mm.
less lack. And
Right.
you're in this place where you can be like, it's okay. I can invest in myself. I can
Mm.
hire a coach. And by the way, you need a coach. So
Yeah.
if you are becoming an entrepreneur for the first time, I promise you there are so many things you don't know. And you
Yeah.
have to go to the people who have done it and who have done it well and who have
Mm.
referral like clients who will talk about them,
Yeah.
who will say, this person got me straight. They figured out what I needed and helped me move in that direction. Because there's a lot of charlatans out there. And oh my
Yeah.
gosh, if you're going to work with an executive coach, please, please make sure they've been an executive. Because there's so many people that are like, you know what? My friends say I give really good advice. I'm going to be a coach.
And an executive coach.
Oh,
Yeah.
please don't do that. This is a
Yeah.
very important profession. Take it
Yeah.
seriously and go get certified. If like I have 20, almost 30 years of experience.
Yeah.
I didn't need to go down the certification route, but there are
Mhm.
so many people that want to become a coach and won't do it.
Yeah.
Please go
Yeah.
do it. Put in the reps. It's important.
Yeah. I'm a big advocate for that. And I say it a lot on anywhere anyone's listening. Look at where they've been, look at what they're doing, and I'm not gonna hire a 30-year-old executive coach where I don't know where they've been and I don't know their life experience,
No.
and they can't lead me to where I'm going. But pay
I
attention to the journey and do your homework, do your homework.
I had someone just
Yeah.
like a couple weeks ago who said to me, he's like, Lindsay, I my friend said I needed to come talk to you because I
Mm,
really want to be a COO. And I said, okay, so do you have experience being a
mhm.
COO? And he's like, well, no, but I had my job was like a COO. I said, okay, so you're gonna have to really hunker down on that messaging so people believe that you do have the chops to be a COO since you've never been a COO. And
Yeah.
he's like, I didn't
Yeah.
think what I was saying was so like enlightening, but for him it
Yeah.
was.
But
And
yeah, exactly. Breaking it down. I
yeah.
started a cauliflower pizza crust company years ago and ended up being the first cauliflower pizza crust
Yes.
company ready made out there. But what's so interesting about that at the time, even being, a lobbyist, knowing so much about business, working for a business organization for years and love, I didn't know the hierarchy on CFO, CO. I was so green. I was
Yeah.
creative and I had the chops to do it all. But
Mhm.
I had to do research and I learned and fell on my face and learned and fell on my face. And I mean, I was going and Googling as quick as I could. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's the next step. And that's the next,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
didn't know. And I think we
Yeah.
got to reach out and pull people in who know. I love
And
what you said
yeah,
about
keep
not
going.
waiting and get creative. I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
Don't wait, get creative now.
Yes.
I'm always
Yes.
an advocate for creativity and curiosity. Don't sit, don't play the waiting game. So
Well,
let's
and
expand on that. Yeah.
yeah, let's talk about bad ideas
Yeah.
because the most successful entrepreneurs in the world have had thousands of bad ideas. I think our girl Taylor Swift talked about like
Yeah.
if every bad idea
Yeah.
got me to where I am now. So don't be afraid of the bad ideas. But here's the
Yeah.
reality. There are people in your life that are not going to understand what you're doing. And their insecurities are going to get projected onto you.
Yeah.
So when you start hearing things like, couldn't you just make it a side hustle? Or do you really want to do this? Why, maybe just get a job instead. That's their insecurities talking. That's
Yeah.
their narrative. So
Yeah.
you have to have such self-belief and a plan, and
Mhm.
your ideas, not all of them are going to work. And a lot of your ideas, they've been done before by other people, but go and see who's doing it well and go and
Yeah.
learn from them. And if you can,
Mhm.
reach out and talk to them, because a lot of people will tell you some of the
Mhm.
mistakes they've made. I mean, I get approached all the time about podcasting. So I share my knowledge. I'm happy to. There's over
Yeah.
3.7 million podcasts in the world. Not all of them make it past episode 10, but
Yeah. And I
like,
think and we both are in the top 2% in our podcast. Why
yes.
do you think that
Yeah.
is? Why do you think we both hit that top?
I think consistency is a
Yeah.
huge thing. And I think the one thing I tell people, if you're going to start a podcast, it's a 5-year commitment. So this isn't
Mm.
like a cool, let's do
Yeah.
this until
Yeah.
summertime. No,
Yeah.
this is like, you got to be consistent. You got to
Yeah.
release episodes either every week or every other week or whatever your cadence is. You've got to do it.
Yeah.
And your podcast is going to evolve, and mine certainly has. I mean, I what it started with and what it is now, I mean, I have better guests now. I'm
Yeah.
much more confident in the way that I interview and the
Yeah.
the flow, and when I invite people to the show, it's just so easy for me now. But I've been doing it for a few years, so it's
Yeah.
not, you're not going to be great when you first start, and you got to be
Mm.
okay with that.
Yeah, and maybe give yourself permission to change your
Yeah.
ideas of how you wanna show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I love that. So, what would you tell the people that right now are wanting to pivot? They want to do a side hustle and they're not making money.
Ah,
Do they
okay.
stay the course or do they abandon ship?
So I think it depends. It
Mhm.
depends on the financial state that you're in and what your family dynamics are. I mean, if you're a two-income family, or if you're your own person and you only rely on your income, you kind of you got to get your house in order. So whether it's your investments or it's, how liquid you are, you have to be able to say, okay, there are things I am not going to do well, and I need to hire help for those situations. Maybe that's a VA, maybe that's a podcast producer, maybe that's a ghostwriter, whatever it is. There are skills that I'm not great at that I need help with. And so I had to hire out those people. Now, if you are in a role where you're making money and you can stay,
Mhm.
just stay and start to dip your toe in the water. Start to
Mhm.
feel like, is there demand for this? When I
Mhm.
put this out there, are people going to be like, oh, that's great. I'd hire you. Okay, those are good indicators that you're on your way. That's a
Mhm.
good moment. But there are going to be people that'll be like, eh. But it's
Yeah.
also how you deliver the message. And if you have that self-belief and you say, hey, I've come up with the solution, this is what I'm thinking about, be careful
Mhm.
who you share that with. And I don't say
Mhm.
it because I think people are going to steal your idea. I say it because I want you to have a strong sense of self. And if you're telling someone who has no familiarity with what you're doing, their doubt might be really big. If you have
Right.
somebody who has built businesses before, who has, you know, proven themselves over and over again, that's who you want to share it with. That's who you want to learn from. So I'll tell you a little story. So I had a friend of mine, we're in a community together, and he's like, can my son call you? He just graduated college and he could really use some Lindsay advice. And I said, oh yeah, sure, anytime. So this guy Ben calls me, and he's so sweet, and he's like, "So Linz, I just graduated college. What advice do you have for me?" And I said, "Ben, you probably aren't getting this advice from any college professor or any other parent that you're talking to, but I want you to start a side hustle." And he was like, "What?" I said, "You are probably really good at video." And he's like, "Yeah, I could do it in my sleep." And I'm like, "Okay, so everyone over 40 is not good at video?" Pretty big generalization, but I think I'm
Yeah.
fairly
Pretty
right on
good.
that.
Yeah.
We weren't born with it. It's not innate in our DNA to think that way. It's just we're slower.
Mhm.
And I said, I'll tell you what, how about you create a video for me for my podcast? And if you do a good job, I'm going to shout you out on LinkedIn, and I'm going to shout you out in the community, and let's see what happens. Well, I got this gorgeous postcard from him. Here it is. I got this beautiful postcard from him, and it's the sweetest handwritten note about
Mhm.
how he has, I think, 8 paying clients right now, and he was taking his first business trip to Argentina. And this was as a result of his side hustle. And
Mhm.
it's something that he knows, it's something that he's really good at. And listen, he can still go and look for a job. He doesn't have to stay only with the side hustle, but the side hustle is his. And
Yeah.
if that job disappears, he can come back to that and he can do that work on the side. And that's why I want people to diversify. Everybody that is a multi hyphenate, that's all the people in my world. Like we all do
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I like doing a lot of things. I'm not a big subscriber to the you can only do one thing and do it well. No,
Mhm.
I actually think there are many things you can do. It depends on your energy, it depends on your focus, it depends on how you run your business.
Right.
So,
And probably do you define I know what I could do well, and like for me, I delegate what I don't.
yes.
I
And
delegate to like anything.
listen,
Yeah. Mhm.
delegation is a power skill. Some people call them soft skills. I call them power skills. But delegation is a beautiful sign of leadership. And when you give someone an opportunity to do something, you are giving them an opportunity to shine. And if they do it well, then you get to celebrate them. And
Yeah.
then they want more and they feel more
Right.
confident, and you are building good leaders. So delegation is a really important power skill, and especially as a founder or a head of a business.
I love that you just highlighted that because I had a question I had written down. You call them power skills, not soft
Yes.
skills for a reason. So
Yes.
why do they matter now more than ever?
Yeah, I mean, this is the modern markers of leadership. And power skills, I mean, you have them in spades. It's empathy, it's communication, it's delegation, it's building trust, building psychological safety. And when you think about how leadership has evolved over time, the business world came out of a manufacturing era. And people came, they punched
Mhm.
their cards, they left. And it was very like, shut up, do your shift, and go home. And that mentality carried over into the white collar world. And it was a very pale, male, and stale paradigm for us to live
Yeah.
in.
Hmm.
And that has
Hmm.
changed and it has evolved, and as consulting has evolved, as sales has evolved, how and relationships with our clients has evolved. So we're in this moment right now where people are saying, I don't want to shut up and do my job. I want to come in, I want to contribute, I want to know my work is valued, and I want to thrive. And when you have a leader who sees you and who
Hmm.
says, like, I'll never forget one of my favorite leaders, she promoted me twice. And the first time she said, okay, so how do you want to run the business? And I went, me? You you want to know how I want to run the business? And she's like, well, you've been doing it longer, so you have the institutional knowledge. Hell yeah, let's go. And I felt so empowered. I felt like I had so much autonomy. And that in turn, I could turn to my team and say, oh, guys, we have a leader who believes in us. So what can we do differently? How can we be creative? And every
Hmm.
time I had a leader who believed in me that way, I crushed it. I mean, I
Yeah.
leveled my quotas. I overachieved in spades, and so did my teams. And I
Mm.
think that's just a really important thing for leaders to understand. And
Right.
this whole like hoarding the ideas, please stop doing that. And I'll tell you what I mean by that.
Hmm.
And this is a story. My brother, he's a vice president of sales, and he was talking to his boss who had zero power skills, like really a terrible guy.
Hmm.
And he's like, I have this idea. He's like, I don't think so. They literally went to the next meeting. The guy
Hmm.
claimed the idea as his, did not give my brother any credit, and everyone was like, that's such a great idea. And my brother just sat there with his jaw on the floor, like, I can't believe you. I can't believe you. You know this was my idea. And so he had no trust for that guy ever again.
Hmm.
And that's a really lousy way to lead. And if you
Yeah.
celebrate your people, that always looks good on you. When they excel, they're on your team.
Mhm.
They're a reflection of you. So there is not enough celebration going on. And I'm talking the small stuff, like you did great on that last sales call, or I love the
Yeah.
way you handled that client, or I love the way you solved that problem and I want to share about it. Can you talk about it on the next team call? When you're building that environment, it's contagious. People
Yeah.
love it. They jump in. They're excited.
Oh, I love that. I really do love that. That actually, my chest was tingling a little bit. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, I like that. And now, and I
Mm.
was actually going through my team on all the good things that they do. And do
Yeah.
I illuminate that? Do I say it enough?
Let me
Because
tell you how impactful this is. It's a cute story. So I was working with a team, and there was a VP of sales. It was a call center. So picture
Mhm,
cubicle farm, prairie
mhm,
dogging, and this VP of sales was walking through the cubicles, and one day she just put a post-it note down on someone's desk, and it said, "Great job on that last call." And the
mm,
person felt really seen, and their, shoulders back, they felt kind of good. And she started doing this a few times a day. So she'd just walk
mm.
by. And so people are like, "Oh, I hope I get one." So
Yeah,
they're like making sure their calls are really good because they want that recognition. But here's what happened next: the whole team started doing it for each other. So this tiny little moment of her putting a post-it,
love that.
the whole team is now celebrating each other. And they're leaning back, "Hey, Jimmy, I like how you did that. Can we talk later? Because I want to learn how you did that." And now all of a sudden you're building connection and communication and collaboration, and you're mentoring each other. It's a really easy thing to do, but leaders forget to do it.
Yeah.
So
What about leaders that are entrepreneurs, not just in the corporate world, but they're
Mhm.
entrepreneurs and we're busy.
Yeah,
We're busy sun up, sundown to keep that connection and our community around us in
yeah,
collaboration instead of that competition.
yeah,
How can we show up better there? How can
yeah.
entrepreneurs show up better for each other?
I love this because I do it every day. Probably the place that I'm the busiest is on LinkedIn. And when my friends are doing anything good, and these aren't just my clients, these are people that I'm in community with, these are people that I've met on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
If I see them get a win, I am the first one to jump in and
Yeah.
celebrate. And I want people to feel recognized, feel seen, and especially when you're an entrepreneur, it can be really lonely. So you
Yeah.
have to create that community for yourself. And what happens when you do that consistently for as many people as possible, it comes back in tidal waves on you. I mean, just this
Yeah.
week, I had three separate people write posts about me. I didn't ask for it, I didn't
Yeah.
expect it. They
Yeah.
just did it because they felt like really seen. And a really easy way to recognize people, and this is such a good one, on LinkedIn, you can write recommendations for people. So whenever I'm coaching clients on LinkedIn, I always say, "Okay, this week, I want you to go write three recommendations for people. I want them to be so good that they cry, not bad cry, good cry, like
Yeah.
brings tears to their
Yeah.
eyes."
They're seeing connected,
Yeah.
like,
And what's
wow.
going to happen is, first of all, they're going to be so impressed that you felt that way about them. They're going to feel really touched, but they're likely going to turn right around and go write you one in return. And when you
Mm.
have a lot of recommendations, it means people respect you. They like working with you. They feel good about you. And so the rule of thumb is you don't want your recommendations being older than a year, but if they're 6 months or better, 6 months or younger, that's even better.
Mhm.
So it's a regular practice I try and teach people to do.
Mm, I
And it's
like
such a
that.
great way to let people know how you feel about them and how much you respect their work.
I love that. In this world we're living in right now, it can get loud.
Yeah.
Uh, and you've written books. I
Yeah.
just wrote a book. Getting
Congrats.
people to write a review, even when they say, I love the book and they're giving they to get that
Yeah.
review. Why is it so difficult? I'm just gonna
I
ask
don't
off the cuff here. Why is that such a
I'll tell
difficult
you why.
task?
I don't think people understand how important it is.
Mm,
And I it's interesting. I have in our community that I keep talking about, the Outlier Project. This is a community I'm a part of, but it's totally
yeah.
changed my life. And there's about 800 of us in this community,
Mm,
and we have a top podcasters club. So we all talk to each other about podcasts. And one day we literally said, "Today we're writing reviews for everybody's podcast." And
love
because
that.
we're all creators, we understand the gravity of a review.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what changes your ranking, right? So when
Mm.
you meet other authors, we understand the power of a review.
And,
So
and
any,
podcast. Yeah. And
yes,
podcast.
exactly. So any friend who's an author, and I'm totally happy to go write you a review, that is a really sweet practice to
Yeah.
do. And I don't think our listeners understand just how impactful those reviews are. But those
Mhm.
reviews take you from just an author to a best-selling author, or to a,
Yeah.
25 great reviews or 100 great reviews.
Yeah.
And, you can, if you are one of those people that consistently gives, if you
Mhm.
say, hey, everybody, could you go out and please write a review about my book today? It would mean so much to me. And this is why.
Mhm.
Your diehard fans and followers, they'll take it's not even 5 minutes. It's like 3 minutes to go
Mhm.
and do that. That's easy. It's
Yeah.
easy. But I don't think people understand why it's so important.
Yeah.
And they
I
just kind of
agree.
think, whatever. Yeah.
I love that you illuminated on that because I think it is such a simple thing,
It
but it's
is.
so impactful. What else can
Mhm.
people do that are simple? I like to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Simple, keep us connected, that trust and that core value of trust
Yeah.
that can move that needle forward for them and in where we are in the world right now.
Yeah, I think, everyone has this kind of feeling like we're screaming into the void. And,
Mhm.
I just can't get my message out. I just don't feel. And, I feel like
Yeah.
that too. And I'm constantly posting and constantly creating content. Um, I think if you're consistent with your heart and you are, I
Mhm.
always say lead with heart, you say it too. Um, when you're consistent with your messaging and you're constantly lifting others up, um, you really want to build your brand. And when that becomes your brand, you
Mhm.
are extremely magnetic. You are extremely attractive for people to be around. You get
Mhm.
talked about when you're not in the room, which is what we
Yeah.
all want.
Yeah.
And so I really have leveraged LinkedIn over the last almost 4 years. I've been on it since 2006, and I really didn't
Yeah.
do much with it.
Right.
But once I had to make that pivot, and I say had to because I had to, I really had to build my network with a lot of intentionality. And so I went from like 1,000 followers 3 years ago to like 14,000 or something now. And while
Oh, brilliant.
those aren't huge numbers by like Instagram standards, but on
Right, on
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn, it's huge. That's huge. Yeah.
it's a nice number. So,
Yeah.
um, you're constant the thing with building your brand, and I want to really
Mhm.
kind of harp on this for the executives who listen to your show. Um, a lot of executives are sleeping on Instagram, or not on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and they need to not do that. And here's why. If you are an executive and you post, you get 300 and I think it's 376% more reach than just a regular person posting on LinkedIn. So that is a huge opportunity for you. But brands are 82% more trustworthy when you post. So when I talk to executives and they start to understand this and they start to understand the impact that they can make, not just about their company, but about their own personal brand, the light bulbs go on and they go, oh, okay, I need to be thinking about this a little differently. And one of the things I love to tell people is, yes, you are CEO or CFO or COO or vice president or whatever, but that's not all you are. You're more than that. What are you passionate about? What are you a thought leader about?
Right.
What do you love to do? What have you been recognized for? And then I always say, add something personal. And they're
Mhm.
always like, I'm like, no, no, no. People want to connect with people. So on my LinkedIn profile, it says mom of twins and wiener dog lover. And the wiener dog lover thing always gets people laughing. They're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, I have a wiener dog," or "I love wiener dogs,"
Right.
or "I love dogs too," or "I'm a twin. My mom's a twin. My brother's a
Yeah.
twin." Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the reason that works so well is it's a softball. It's an easy way for people to start conversation. And so
Right.
I love teaching people to do this. And it could be I break for tacos, or I
Yeah.
love olives, or, Costa Rica is my favorite place on earth, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
As long as it's relatable, it's cool.
Yeah.
So I want people to understand there is really gone are the days where there's separation of this is my work life and this
Yeah.
is my personal life. You're one person.
Yeah.
So
I
people want
love
to
that.
know all of you.
I love that. I would say that is sometimes my biggest challenge with people. Work life. No, it's integrated.
You're
It's
one
both.
person.
Yeah.
But when you can say, like, hey, you guys, I totally slipped on the ice coming in. I have the biggest bruise on my butt. Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, everyone can relate. We've
Yeah.
been there. That stinks. And are you all right? Like,
Yeah.
you're human. And so when you can have these moments of vulnerability,
Yeah.
people connect better.
Oh, I love the fact you illuminated that, the vulnerability and the connection. And we just talked about that a little bit before we started, was connection is so important that I don't
100%.
think people can see us unless we're connecting and with that vulnerability where we're showing
Yeah.
up and even
Yeah.
making mistakes. People say, "Are you going to fix that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to fix that. No, I'm not going to replay that." And when I started, I stumbled over your name, and I'm like, I had to stop and laugh, and then I could, I almost got the giggles, like I couldn't, and I'm like, okay, breathe, stop laughing, and start again. And it was the first time I've ever had to do that, but it's like, oh my god, that was so fun, kind of like I literally didn't have my mic up. I was so engaged with you, I didn't,
Yeah.
I didn't have anything ready.
You know what? I
It
think
was so fun.
the mistakes and the gaffes and these moments of like flubs,
Yeah.
this is it's humor. It's my one of my best friends did a post yesterday and it was all about tarantulas, which sounds crazy, but she misspelled tarantulas. And so I texted her, I'm like, dude, you misspelled tarantulas. And she commented back on the post, she's like, at least we know it wasn't AI. And like
Bravo.
let's have some fun with it. And
Yeah.
who cares? She spelt it
Yeah.
right later in the
Yeah.
post, but still it was like the big headline it was spelled
Yeah.
on.
Well,
So,
I always find it interesting. I'm like always observing, like, oh, it's so interesting that you focused on that, but not the message. Or you
right.
focused on that, but thank you for telling me, but it doesn't bother me. Let it rip, let it
No,
go.
no.
And it's not like there were like four eyes on it. And if my team thought it was okay, they're like, oh yeah, Dana's got to, she reverses sentences. She does it all the time. She's good with it. They know me. They know I'm good with it. It's like, yeah, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just looking for connection. I'm just
Oh,
looking to
can we
get
just
my,
talk
yeah,
about that for a
yeah,
second?
yeah, let's
Like,
open that can
let's
of,
let's not, especially for those people just starting out, the
yeah,
pursuit is not perfection. That is
yeah,
not what we're looking for. The pursuit is whatever it is you're trying to change, whatever business you're trying to disrupt,
yeah,
whatever industry you're trying to break into. It's progress. It's
yeah.
not perfection. So stop killing yourself over like I hear this all the time like I'm just going to build my website and then I'm going to start. I'm like, dude, first of all, gone are the days where your website is generating business because it's
Yeah.
not.
I
No
tell
one's
this
like
story. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love
searching the
this
web,
story.
right?
When I hit sale records, my website was down for 8 months. It said pending because guess what? I couldn't decide on the colors and the branding. I'm like, I kept changing, and they're like, and I'm like, yeah, let's just. And I said, has that been eight? They said, hey, 8 months. It's been down. You want it back up? And I'm
Yeah.
like, sure. Let's just do it. Get it back up.
Yep.
And it didn't. All the things we think we need to do.
No,
I think, I mean, I'm glad it's there, but it isn't essential. And I'm a big
it's not.
believer that you got to show up and even on programming anything, launch it, build it later. If
Yeah.
you've got the idea, it will, you're gonna
Listen,
encompass it. Yeah.
people are hiring you because you know shit. They're
Yeah.
hiring you because you're really good at what you do. They're
Yeah.
not hiring you to build their website
Yeah.
unless you're a website builder. So, like, who cares? I mean, my girlfriend with the tarantula,
Yeah.
she still doesn't have a website. And she's working with every major sports team in the Empire State Building. She's a growth strategist. She's fucking
Yeah.
brilliant. She
Yeah.
doesn't need a website and she's not going to make one.
Yeah.
So,
Good for
stop
her.
stopping yourself from
Yeah.
doing the work because the
Yeah.
work is what people want.
Well, let's anchor into why they get this perfection paralysis, the
Mm,
waiting game. Well, I'll launch when I get the website
yeah,
and when I get more followers and all the reasons why,
yeah.
what they
It
need to
all,
do.
yeah, it all stems from fear. It
Yeah.
all stems from self-belief and fear.
Yeah.
And when you hold yourself back because you think, I don't have this yet, and I don't have that yet. No, you have all the things.
All
At
of it.
least, unless you're an executive coach and you haven't been an executive, you don't have all the things. But, but you have all the things. So
Yeah.
go for it. Start putting
Mm.
yourself out there. I mean, do you think when I started my business, like I had it all figured out. My business has changed so many times. The opportunities that have come my way. I didn't think I was going to be an author, never mind twice. I
Yeah.
didn't think I was going to start a podcast. I didn't even listen to podcasts back then. So, like, all that stuff is just,
Yeah.
it just don't let it get in the way of what you're trying to do. It's just
Mm.
pointless.
I love that. I love that. I love this conversation. This has been,
Me
I
too.
think, so illuminating for so many areas where people can hide, and it's just
Oh
like
yeah.
calling them out without calling them out. I'm just looking down to see if there's anything I haven't asked you that I wanted to ask you, and I think we just covered it. I just think the misconceptions of what people think an entrepreneurship is and a leadership is and an executive is, I
Mhm.
think that we have to just disintegrate what that attachment is and
Yeah.
just show up with
Yeah,
with
and I
who
want
you
to just
are.
say this, like if you are seasoned, if you are of a certain age and you've been in a leadership role, it
Mm,
is your responsibility to pay it forward. It's your responsibility to take people under your wing and to show them and light
yeah,
the path and talk about them when they're not in the room. This is how we make a better world. This is
yeah,
how we connect. This is how we lift others up. And that it matters more than anything. So if you've done your gig for a number of years, do
yeah.
other people a solid. Lift them up.
Mm.
Shout them out. It doesn't ever take away your shine. It only makes you better.
Bravo, bravo. Where can people find you? Where do you hang out the most? I know LinkedIn,
Yep,
maybe.
I'm
What
on
do you got coming up?
everything but X. So you
Oh
can
yeah.
find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And my podcast is called the Heartbeat for Hire podcast. And every Thursday at 1, I have the Leadership Lounge, which is my new streaming live show.
Yeah.
So yeah, come check me out. Say you heard me on Dana Grant Show, because
Yeah.
I would love to know that that's where we met.
Oh, absolutely. Lyndsay Dowd in the house. I'm going to tell you, full of wisdom, full of depth. I loved this conversation.
Me
It was
too.
almost like
Thank you.
it just reinforced all the good things of why I do what I do. I mean, you just really I could feel my cells lighting back up. And
Me
I
too.
thought I just it just I feel illuminated. So
Me
thank
too.
you. Thank you. And you know
My
what, where
pleasure.
else?
Thanks for
So
having
you
me.
have you had something I want to give a shout out to. We're going to have all her
Oh,
links and everything to follow her. You're going to want to download this. You're going to want to listen
yeah,
to it again. But you also have a course on LinkedIn, you
I
said.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do an executive LinkedIn workshop. So I work with a lot of executives who know they need to pay attention to their LinkedIn. They haven't done it. They're reluctantly coming my way and they're like, I know I have to do this. I know I have to build a
Ooh.
personal brand. And let me tell you, it's really fun. It's an hour long. We have a lot of laughs and we dig deep, and there's a little bit of soul searching. There's a little bit of discovery that happens, but I really tell you how it works and I tell you why we make the changes that we make. And when you're done with it, you will have homework, but when you're done with it, you're going to feel far more empowered and ready to rock. And that's the part that I like the most. So when I see CEOs out posting and like regularly doing
Yeah.
stuff, I'm like, yes, I love seeing that, because what they don't realize is there's a ripple effect. And one of the things I love to teach is if you're an executive and somebody joins your team, you go and welcome them on
Yeah.
LinkedIn publicly.
Yeah.
And you say, Hey,
Love it.
Dana, welcome to the team. We're so happy you're here.
Yeah.
Dana feels so good because she's been seen by the boss. Like,
Yeah.
that's easy. It takes
Yeah.
6 seconds. Like, just do it. So,
And I love everything you said today is an easy shift. It's just a shift.
all of this stuff's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love
None of
that.
this is rocket science.
Yeah.
All of this is human behavior. It just needs some tweaking and reminders and explanation why we don't do certain things, because a lot of people have been taught really bad habits.
Yeah.
And when I poll a room of people and I say, who here has had a bad leader? 100% of the room raises their
Yeah.
hand. Who
Yeah.
here has had a great leader? It's a lot less. And that's why I
Yeah.
do this.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. My heart's just expanding. Hey, what feels like love in your life right now? I didn't ask that.
Oh,
Yeah. What feels like love in your life right now?
whew, you know what? I'm really surrounded by it. I'm in this moment where I'm having a lot of um, really high vibrational connections happening that are happening really effortlessly. Like, I meet someone and then someone I really care about also met that person completely unrelated, and
Mm.
we're now all connected. Like, that's
Yeah.
happening daily in my life. So it
Yeah.
feels like I'm in this really open channel where just a lot of flow is happening. And
Mm.
I
Love it.
collect people. So I love, when I get to bring new people into my life, and I'm so
Yeah.
happy that we're connected now.
Yeah.
But I just, yeah, I love when people light me up and make me buzz with excitement and opportunity. And
Yeah.
I feel a real responsibility to do this work, and it just brings me a lot of joy and a lot of passion to make this world a better place. So I'm
that.
kind of in love with the work. It's work, but I love it and it's
Yeah.
important.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. Oh, Lyndsay, 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 Lyndsay. I love this conversation. Love my conversation with Lyndsay. Oh, maybe that would be the name of the podcast. Love my conversation with Lyndsay. Thank you for showing
I
up
love it.
today. Thank you for just
My
giving and
pleasure.
pouring into my community. And everyone,
Happy
thank you
to.
for showing up today for the Dana Grant Show. Until next time, download this, follow Lyndsay, go find her. You're going to want to connect with her. I'm joining the LinkedIn workshop.
We're gonna rock this. You
Join
watch
me.
Dana. She's
Yeah.
gonna shine.
Oh,
It's gonna
I'm
be
going to
good.
shine, baby. And yeah, and you're all going to want it afterwards. So you heard it here first. All right, everyone. Bye for now.